Srila Guru Maharaj has an introductory shloka to tell us about the basics of the chapter. And this is the English, then we'll read the Sanskrit and discuss a little about the substance and the Sanskrit words and so on. So, the principle to reject everything opposed to the service of the Lord and his devotee, and to similarly abstain from everything opposed to an attitude of surrender is known as pratikulya vivarjanam, rejection of the unfavorable. Okay, so the Sanskrit, Bhagavad Bhaktayor Bhakte Prapate Pratikulake Varjadve Nischaya Prati Kulya Varijanam Uchyate. Okay. Kulya Varjanam. Oh, Pratikul, right, there you go. So he completed the shloka with the word Pratikulya at the end of one stanza, in the beginning, and then Prati at the end of one, and Kulya at the beginning of the other. So Pratikulya Vivarjanam Uchyate. So underlining the Pratikulya Vivarjanam, rejection of the unfavorable. And Prapate, in the attitude of surrender, Pratikulake, abstain from everything opposed. Bhagavad Bhaktayor Bhakte Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. The one who gives us everything. Okay. Bhagavad Bhaktayor Bhaktehe, the service of the Lord and the devotee. Bhagavad, then Bhaktayor. Those two are combined together. And Bhaktehe means the service to both of them. So, this is interesting how Guru Maharaj has brought out that the Lord, not only the Lord, but his devotee, rejecting everything opposed to that, those things which are in opposition to the service to the Vaishnava and the service to the Lord. And that reminds me of a time when Sri Lekha and I went to see Srila Guru Maharaj, and Sri Lekha had, really shopped around and find this really beautiful, cotton blended with some kind of really, I forget what it was, soft substance. And the blanket was like really beautiful and soft. And Guru Maharaj picked it up, felt it, and then rubbed it against his cheek.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And said, his comment was, Krishna is very far, but the devotees are very near. The Vaishnavas are very near, he said. Yeah.
Wow.
That was his statement after getting the blanket.
Wow.
Yeah, we just we're like stuck on the floor for about 2 hours, just sitting there looking at him. He let us just sit there stunned, for a long time. And he just, was there saying Gaur Hari Bol or something. I don't remember.
Wow.
Just, astounding. And, when we heard Gayatri from him, he recited that, I should memorize it, but I haven't. It's that shloka from Raghunath Das Goswami that talks about how we're so obligated to Sri Guru. I think it's in Sri Guru and His Grace. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's a very important shloka about the position of Guru given by Raghunath Das. And, very, very beautiful. And after, Yes. Yeah. And Guru Maharaj said that, right after he gave us Gayatri. And then said a little something, but not much. Just that was what he gave us. And so very, very fortunate to somehow or other Srila Prabhupada set it up so that we could hear Gayatri. I told you the story, yeah. Okay. So we're done with one. Let's move on to number 2, and then we'll go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, Guru Maharaj's summary, the ideal in the resolve to reject the unfavorable. That's interesting. What a combination. The ideal in the resolve. So that's like what propels our resolve is our remembrance of the ideal. And that's important, and it's the ideal is there for us. We feel it, but it's still hazy. We know what it is, but it's still hazy. So we have to bring it out, try to remember it, and function based on that ideal. More or less in spite of ourselves. So okay, then the shloka is from Mahaprabhu. O Lord of the universe, I have no desire for wealth or worldly promotion, nor do I desire wife, family, or society, nor do I aspire for Vedic religiosity or mundane scholarship. The only aspiration in my heart is that in my every birth I may have unmotivated devotion for you. I forget which number that is. Is it like 6 or something? I forget. Yeah, you can check it out.
What's the Sanskrit word?
Well, I'll say, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janman janmanam ishvare, bhaktavad bhaktir ahoitu ki twai. Yeah, I don't remember.
Page 200.
It's 4.
4, okay. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundaram. And Guru Maharaj translates that as wealth, worldly promotion, janam, and sundarim, wife, family, and society.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
Nor do I aspire for Vedic religiosity or mundane scholarship. Mama janam. Okay. Yeah. Kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Religiosity or mundane scholarship. Jagadisha kamaye. Okay, then, mama janmanam ishvare, birth after birth. Ishvare, I guess, within the heart. Bhaktavad bhaktir, that's, devotion to the Lord. Ahoitu ki twai. Twai, you. Ahoitu ki, unmotivated. So, compact statement about this, important understanding of devotion. That we have our positive side of devotion, and it's called pravriti. Those things that are good for us, like our sadhana, and Rupa Goswami has outlined very clearly about the wonders of the association of the Vaishnavas, and the 6 ways in which we can, associate heart to heart and exchange loving devotion and our own sentiments for devotion to the Lord are exchanged amongst the Vaishnavas. And that not only gives nourishment to, the self, but it also gives nourishment to the Vaishnavas who we exchange with. And so this compact understanding, I keep saying compact because, of course, Mahaprabhu left us only 8 shlokas, and each one is just, incredibly powerful. And each word is important and self-contained. And the Sanskrit, once we begin, after hearing it enough, we begin to kind of understand the Sanskrit. And in the Sanskrit, there's actually so much more potency than the English. The English, we comprehend it, And, in that way kind of understand and have some kind of entry into the depth of it. But having understood the English and then looking at the Sanskrit and, understanding from the English what the Sanskrit means, then hearing the Sanskrit itself, we get a deeper understanding of what is being given by Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu gave it himself directly in that sound, that Sanskrit sound. So there's, tremendous potency in that. And sometimes that's chanted every day, right? Yeah, you were saying, right? Yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah.
program. It only takes a few minutes.
Yeah, and that way it becomes fixed in the mind. Otherwise, I kind of forget. I haven't read it for a while. And so the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Dev, Sri Bhagavatas Chaitanya Chandrasya Asya, from Sri Bhagavad Chaitanya. That means Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has given this introductory shloka to this chapter on Pratikulya Vivarjanam. And the next verse we get from Kulishekarasya. Kulishekar Maharaj was the king in, I forget the actual name of it, but it's modern-day Kerala. And maybe it was Trivandrum, because the city Trivandrum is like the center of the old kingdom. And the main temple is a beautiful temple of, I think it's either Garbhodakashai Vishnu or Karanadakashai Vishnu. I forget. Maybe it's Karanadakashai Vishnu. But like 21 feet long. Amazing deity. Usually closed to Westerners. If you're white, they stop you. But I told them, well, I'm a Vaishnava. I told the story already. And then they had me go to the Ramakrishna mission and get a Hindu certificate. So I went there, and the guy grilled me a bit on Bhagavad Gita, and I talked to him about the differences between the Ramakrishna mission and our interpretation, and he just wrote a really nice letter saying he understands the agamas and this and that about, the South Indian stuff. And, I got in. Okay, so I have to get a marker for this.
Things don't have a more built-in.
No, it doesn't. Okay, here we are. Okay. The existence of the material world is useless without loving attachment and unalloyed loving service. So the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descends for that purpose. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Mahaprabhu ki Jai. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. I mean, the fact that we're given Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Ishopanishad, Upadeshamrita, so many things from Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada just underlines the fact that, he's given us the foundational entry into Krishna consciousness, wherever you're coming from. And, to build on that foundation, we have the fortune to have been allowed to enter Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. Somehow or other, our offensiveness wasn't that bad, and we got let in. So, we're very fortunate because Srila Sridhar Maharaj has built on the foundation that Prabhupada gave, given us the maybe the middle school instruction, something like that. And so we were very fortunate to have his book, his translations, and his purports. Okay. Yeah, whenever I read this, I see those films of Srila Prabhupada, sitting there after he's gotten up at like 1 in the morning or something with his dictaphone, just reading everything, looking at Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, and all these different great saints, and putting together from them, and also from his heart about the current circumstance, an explanation for us. So it's like we should review it and discuss it a bit. I don't think it should be ignored. Sometimes we think, oh, where's Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, so we should just not necessarily look at the purports. But I, for one, disagree. Okay. So the translation of the next verse, text 15, is everywhere in the world people worship me according to scriptural injunctions, but simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Brajabhumi. So, Sakala Jagate More Kore Vidhi Bhakti. Vidhi Bhakti Brajabhava Paite Nahi Shakti. Nahi Shakti. One can't get the power, paite, obtain, Brajabhava, the feelings of those in Braja. I mean, right. So only by following the rules and regulations, you can't get that. It's directly here by Kaviraj Goswami, given by Srila Prabhupada. Just by following Vidhi, you don't get that. You have to develop in your, internal destruction of the ego and awakening of the spiritual self. That job has to be done, simultaneously to pursuing the Vidhi Bhakti. Not that you just give it up because you're working on something higher, but we continue that, but simultaneously also work in a deeper internal way. And we have the fortune to have been given clarity of that process to some degree to which we can perceive it by Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. And as we go back to Srila Prabhupada's books and review them, we see Prabhupada has indicated it and in many cases directly told us, but we didn't even see it because we were so more immersed in the necessity of Vidhi Bhakti, which Prabhupada just hammered into us because it was necessary to snap us out of the deep attachment to the material illusion. He's just grabbed us and snapped us out of it by like army-like training. But then he sent us to Srila Sridhar Maharaj to teach us what you do after training in the army. You fight. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj taught us how to do that. Or, he did teach us, but how far we absorbed it, that's our own personal internal question, which, we have to keep reading his books again and again and again and trying to understand in the context of what he's telling us. And not only that, but understanding in the context of how his teachings was applied by his greatest devotee, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj. He was his greatest devotee, no doubt about it. And Srila Govinda Maharaj was very, he's very form-breaking. If he could break the form, he would do it. Just like in your face, form breaker. Just digest it, folks. That was Gurudev. Directly from the, teachings of Srila Guru Maharaj. So we learned in that way that devotional life has, much more to do with like internal feeling than with external regulation. And here Kaviraj Goswami is telling us directly that's the case. Your what is it? Sakala Jagate More Kori Vidhi Bhakti. Everyone in the universe, everywhere in the world, Prabhupada says, people follow, but actually it says Jagate, universe, follow and worship me according to the scriptural injunctions, Vidhi Bhakti. Bhakti also means worship. And then Vidhi Bhakti, Brajabhava, Paite Nahi Shakti. You can't get the power, Paite Nahi Shakti, or the loving sentiment. Shakti, you're given by Srila Prabhupada as sentiment, which means, deep feeling. And Shakti means that. But where does any kind of Shakti come from? But from deep within. So we meet someone and we say, oh, they've got a lot of Shakti. That means something comes from deep within that we may not see or understand, but it comes out in this world as, some kind of power, and in many cases like loving feeling. Like we saw in Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev. Just, you went into their presence and you were protected by their, loving concern for you. And, to feel that and to know that in direct contact enabled us to kind of remember it and attempt to feel it at a distance, at a physical distance from them. Because, they told us over and over again, it's not physical proximity. It's internal connection. That's the real thing. But the amazing thing is that for that purpose of physical proximity, they descend. Because, we're not able very much to perceive the internal things until the physical proximity like snaps us out of it or into it or something. So that's the grace of the descent of Sri Guru, that we get to experience within our current, conditioned state something of what real devotion is. We're just zapped by their presence on this plane. And from that we, get the chance to pray and meditate and endeavor to develop that, that internal connection that comes about, not only by prayer but by active service. So, okay, 16. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. That's Krishna himself. Narayan would say something different. And Krishna is so kind that he expands as Narayan and accepts that kind of devotion in a massive scale. All over Vaikuntha, on, unlimited numbers of planets where there's each planet. I was amazed when we saw Srila Prabhupada, the painting they did, that each planet has a particular Narayan with a particular name, and who of course must have a particular mood of devotion, in that awe and reverence mood, which the people who are there with him on the planet have a connection with that particular exact mood, which is really cool. Even in that state, like in every state, there's so many different varieties of the particular, unlimited practically. I can't quote Rupa Goswami, but I'm sure he says it, that within each rasa, there's unlimited subdivisions and unlimited different kinds of feelings that are attached with those subdivisions. And, particularly in Vaikuntha, the Lord expands in unlimited different forms. And it's, something like in the highest sense, in the rasa dance, he expands into unlimited forms. It's not only 108, but there's like unlimited things are going on with that are beyond our conception. But Krishna is expanding so that he dances with every gopi. And then, who knows how many cowherd boys there are. There's certain principal cowherd boys that everybody gets to associate with, and Krishna is there, and Subala is there, but the whole thing is expanded unlimitedly also. So the living beings are there in a small group, every one of them, with those principal gopas, and they get to associate with Krishna like directly, depending on their particular mood. And of course, Krishna's reciprocal arrangement. I mean, how amazing that God will give us exactly what we want. Based on his, because what we want is to serve him. But that desire to serve has a particular flavor. That's what rasa means. That desire to serve has a particular flavor, and based on that particular flavor, and also the desire and direction of the Lord, we get placed in a particular position. Just like even now, even though we can't see it, it's happening because Krishna is God, and whatever position we're in, whatever we're doing, he's arranged it, and it has to do with a particular mood of devotion that is connected with our devotion to our guru, who is like the preliminary Krishna. So it's said everywhere that the guru is non-different from Krishna, but yet paradoxically he's the most dear to Krishna. It's because for us he's like there's nobody else but Krishna. We can't see Krishna. We can't know anything about Krishna except what he tells us. And so he is the personality with which we get to begin our development of reciprocal love. And so, each one of us has a particular loving relationship with our particular guru. And Srila Prabhupada was so kind that he sent us to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And, on top of that, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was so kind that he gave us Srila Govinda Maharaj. And now the new disciples are thinking, oh, Srila Govinda Maharaj was so kind, he gave my guru. And they really feel it. I'm still like amazed. I can hardly comprehend it. But they feel like we, something like we felt with Srila Govinda Maharaj. Who knows really? But, in their eyes and in their faces, something very real is there. No question about it. So let's check out the Bengali. Okay, first of all, Aishvarya, opulences, right? Jnanete, knowledge of. Sabha Jagat Misrita. Jagat, the world, Misrita, mixed. So the whole world looks upon me. In the Sanskrit it says mixed, with a mixed mood. Here Prabhupada says directly with awe and veneration. Sabha Jagat, all the world, more like all the universe, looks at me with, the principal approach to God is like that. If you just look around in the application amongst the, billions who follow Islam or the billions who follow Christianity, the whole thing is awe and reverence. Though within the mystical sections of each religion, there is a greater development of the mood of loving devotion and bhakti. It's really, something is there in the mystics of both sections. Because, why? Because, God is God. So they're praying and trying to approach God, and as they surrender, they get closer, and they begin to get a feeling of exactly what our gurus are giving us. So sometimes when we read what they have to say, it's very much in line with what our gurus are giving us, and also what Krishna has given us. When I first started to get into this, it's called Matnawi, which is the compilation of all the writings of Jalaluddin Rumi, who was a great, we talked about him yesterday, I think, was a great like Sufi mystic in Islam. And that the whole first beginning of it sounded like the Bhagavad Gita. It really did. He was like summarizing, action and how action should lead to renunciation, but renunciation based on devotion and dedication to, to the highest supreme. He didn't really understand Krishna, but still, there was that mood there. And similarly, I always bring this up, but I think it's important for us to know that in Krishna consciousness, we are not like another sect, that like knows the most or something, which even though we've been given such high understanding, we are part of the universal approach to the Supreme Lord, and somehow or other, by the grace of our gurus, we're allowed to be, if we can handle it, we're allowed to be, at the pinnacle of this. And it's actually, as far as we can see and what we hear, it's the truth. Because if you look around, the degree of devotion and dedication that's manifest, even at the high points of Christianity and Islam, doesn't match our high points, our gurus. It may be that some of these people in Christianity and Islam are more than us. They've surrendered more. It's possible, no doubt about it. But it's not clear exactly who or what they're surrendering to. Whereas with us, it's completely clear. And here, Kaviraj Goswami is citing the Lord, who is speaking. I don't know where this is from exactly. The Lord seldom, everywhere they worship me. Let's see if Prabhupada says this. Okay. Okay, one cannot understand the dealings of the Lord in Vrindavan simply by executing the ritualistic regulative principles mentioned in the scriptures. By following scriptural injunctions, one may enhance his appreciation for the glories of the Lord, but there's no chance for one to enter personal dealings with him. Okay, so, there's the realm of scriptural injunction, and there's like the realm of Shastra, which gives us scriptural injunction, and there's the realm of Guru that instructs us to follow scriptural injunction, and there's the realm of Sadhu, those devotees who are higher than us, which encourage us to follow scriptural injunction. But at the same time, the understanding comes here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, everywhere, and in the writings of our beloved gurus. The indication always comes that there's something beyond this regulative activities. And Srila Prabhupada, here he's very clear about it. He gave us very strongly regulative activities, but that wasn't the end. Sometimes, a lot of my godbrothers thinks that's it. You just follow what Prabhupada gave and we'll go back to Godhead at the end of this life. And, maybe it's true, but, we understand, if you look carefully at Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita, as we are allowed to, by the grace of our gurus, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, no doubt. Because we see infused in all of his writings is, understanding that's very much similar to Srila Sridhar Maharaj's. Though, it must be said that Srila Sridhar Maharaj has given us like a more developed understanding. And that's not to, to diminish Srila Prabhupada's position at all. Though some, devotees who can't understand what Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave may think like that. But it's actually not at all. It's like if you're sitting in, 6th grade and you hear something from the 6th grade teacher that is more than what the 5th grade or 4th grade or 3rd grade teacher gave, it doesn't diminish from what they gave. Actually, it enhances their greatness because they gave you the foundation to begin to understand what's in 6th grade. So, our position and the position of everyone in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math should be that, the glories of Srila Prabhupada are, very deep and very profound and are enhanced by Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. And we've heard it repeatedly, the greatness of Srila Prabhupada. What does that, does it just mean, oh, well, he's in a different line? Sometimes I hear this, well, he's in a different line, so we don't really quote from him, or, some people have some kind of notion like that. But, but the fact is, even though it may be Prabhupada has got his, his ISKCON branch, and there's a Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math branch, but these are like, when you see two branches that are growing that are like together, something like that. Yeah, they may be separate, but they're like stuck together in different ways. And, the foundation, everything that we're able to base our approach to Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj is the grace of Srila Prabhupada. And that's even new people. Because why are they coming, Because Srila Prabhupada gave the basic information, injected it into the society about, devotion to Lord Krishna. So, okay. I really say that a lot, but I think it has to be emphasized. So Srila Prabhupada goes on to say, giving too much attention to understanding the exalted glories of the Lord reduces the chances of one's entering personal loving affairs with the Lord. So then, okay, so the Lord is exalted, He's very great, He's very high, He's very wonderful. That's like amazing to understand that. But there's something more that's involved there. And that's what we're beginning to receive. The idea that, okay, He's great, but then based on that greatness, what does He want you to do? Does He want you to just like bow down like, the trillions of other living beings are doing? Or does He, really want you to like, play with Him in some mood of love? It's actually like that. He wants that, really. And the only way we can see that, is like here, by the grace of Kaviraj Goswami, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, and, undoubtedly by the grace of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. They've given us like a transcendental magnifying glass, which enables us to, look into the depths of what is sitting right there, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, in Brihad Bhagavatamritam, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Upadeshamrita. There's depth that we're just beginning to enter into, and we've been given some. What can I say? It's like it is like a magnifying glass. It's something that's more or less separate from ourselves, but which enables us to see more clearly. They've given us a tool. It's like increased mercy. Even though we don't have the vision ourselves, maybe don't even want it very much, they've given us like a magnifying glass. And we can begin to, oh my gosh, it says that. Wow, that means I should, do something deeper. And we get the impetus by their, they're just showing stuff to us. Every time we read, our gurus are like active. Whereas, it appears like it's a book, there's shlokas and there's purports, and we're just reading the shlokas and the purports and kind of trying to understand them with our mind and intelligence. But it's like a whole other thing going on. That they're like, Kaviraj is there, Prabhupada is there, Guru Maharaj is there, Govinda Maharaj is there, and they're all like, engaged in a project to stir our hearts. And so Prabhupada ends with, to teach the principles of such loving dealings, the Lord decided to appear as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. So wow. Here's Srila Prabhupada, who gave a lot of emphasis to the ultimate worship of Radha and Krishna, always like gives some kind of conclusion like this. It all comes from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He doesn't say like, oh, we're all going to directly worship Krishna, like Mirabai did. She's very famous in India, but our line isn't very impressed with her because she was there at the time of Rupa Goswami, and she met him, I believe, but she didn't see who he was. She didn't understand that her devotion to Krishna could be greatly enhanced by surrendering to such a great soul. She may have been given some, as far as we can see, that's what we're told, some limited entry into, understanding the relation with Krishna. But we know from the whole, setup of the transcendental world and transcendental relations that you have to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. You don't just like bust through and suddenly you're with Krishna. It doesn't work like that. We don't have a system like that. We have a system where we serve and serve and serve and serve and serve, and eventually it reaches Krishna. And we're lucky to get, popped into a slot way down the ladder. And that's our aspiration. That's what's given by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose greatness cannot be overemphasized, and the necessity of which understanding his teaching, the importance of that, also can't be overemphasized. Srila Govinda Maharaj gave this really amazing statement that it was maybe Parama Bhakti Didi posted it, but it was a quote from Srila Govinda Maharaj saying that if our Gaudiya Vaishnava society in general, and that includes us, does not follow the teachings of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they are doomed to slide into Sahajism. It may be 50 or 100 years, but it will happen. So Govinda Maharaj sees like that. So we have to, understand like that also. That, someone who says, oh, I've got a realization higher than Bhakti Siddhanta, it's evolutionary. We come after Bhakti Siddhanta, we give more than Bhakti Siddhanta. We see that as our gurus saw it, as, a load of BS, actually. I was going to say it completely, but I decided not to. It makes you feel like that, though. What is this crap, anyway? Countering Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada would explode. Guru Maharaj would, lose his composure. He's so composed. Srila Govinda Maharaj would begin banging on the table, like we've seen him sometimes. I have no doubt about it. This is if they do that, they're going to become sahajas. And Govinda Maharaj has confirmed that, and we, understand that and feel that. And we see it now, sadly, it's happening. They're going to sahajas in Vrindavan. I can't believe it. But I looked into some of that stuff, and I saw pictures. They're going to these babas, which you probably know about. Yeah, and they think that they're enhancing their devotion by doing it and giving their devotees, higher things. Then who? Srila Prabhupada? What are they doing?
It's because they're not getting the right nourishment where they are. We lost one of our brahmacharis there as well. In Darwin. If you're not getting a lot of affection, real, substantial connection, then it's kind of becomes all dry and empty, and you're going to go off looking for something else.
Some nectar.
Yeah.
That's like, we understand clearly from Srila Guru Maharaj that we are not nectar hounds. You know? And that's a good phrase, because hounds, that means like, you know, dogs, which isn't very high. Of course, dogs are glorified by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I can't say that 100%. But, you know, in this case, you know, going after things for your own calculated reasons, even if it has to do with devotion, is not really in the line of devotion. So, you know, they become dried up, and rather than like digging in and fighting from that position of being dried up, you know, to come higher, they decide, oh, I'm just going to jump over and go to the high things and, you know, feel the bliss and the nectar and, you know, the buzz from, you know, like Goswami Maharaj says, the voyeurism of like, you know, observing the high pastimes from, you know, like looking in the window, like a, you know, pervert or something. You know, and this is what they're, you know, trying to do, but they're not even looking in the window, actually. They're like, you know, reading some story that they can't even understand, that in the highest sense, in the spiritual realm, will come to them in the lowest sense. This we already understand. If you're not pure, and you try to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, you'll take it in a mundane way. You know, and it's already hard enough to get through, you know, the material energy and, you know, the attractions of the material energy. It's not easy. And what to speak of lumping that stuff onto you? You know, it's just going to be like make it impossible, I think. You know, and
You know, Swami Maharaj says it all leads ultimately to atheism. You just become an atheist if you go that way.
after that, yeah, because, you know, finally you realize, wow, you know, we're on this world to enjoy. I didn't even realize that. Like all these people who think, oh yes, we're parts of God, who've come to the world to enjoy. Or so we're dancing in the rasa dance, like Krishna did. And this is the highest thing.
That's like waiting in the NHS.
And that's like, you know, that's atheism. It really is. Because why? Because it's directly denying the transcendence, the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know, it's not only offensive in the highest sense to Krishna in his rasas, but it's also offensive. It's not, you know, it takes them out of the realm of awe and reverence, and out of the realm of the Brahmajyoti, out of the realm of the, you know, even the higher planets, and brings them down to, you know, just rajas and tamas, basically. And it's really, you know, it's unfortunate, and it's a sad thing. But at the same time, you know, I mean, look around in the material world; it's a mess. And we're so lucky that, you know, we had Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and we've been able to kind of maintain a, you know, a clearer vision of which way to go. And it's just a blessing. Srila Prabhupada was so clear, because he, you know, he was the only teacher. Some of the, you know, dumber disciples went to, you know, Bhakti Siddhanta's little brother, and, you know, listened to Sahaja stuff, and some of them went to Radha Kunda and thought they were like, you know, coming closer to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna by like imagining them at Radha Kunda. There was a few disciples that did that, but generally, you know, everybody was following carefully